télévision, nous sommes ici à Washington DC et nous voyons là un frère qui est sûrement africain, qui est coulé. Ça doit être le Nigeria. Okay, hi, welcome, brother. From Nigeria, eh?
Yes.
Are you coming from Nigeria or are you?
I'm coming from Nigeria, yes.
Oh, you lucky. A lot of people don't have visa to be here. So what are you representing?
I represent the Nigerian Exim Bank agency. I was actually sponsored here by IREX. I'm a minority fellow. So we're here to see how we can support US trade back in Nigeria. That's the main focus for us being here.
Do you always come in every year or is it your first time?
On need pay. No, not every year, but I come on need pay. Not my first time. No, I've been here quite a number of times. But I come here on need basis. When I'm needed, I'm always available to come here.
Okay, what do you think about the conference here?
I mean, a conference like this is very, very good. And, you know, it's a way to boost our connections and international trade between loads of countries. I've met people from Uzbekistan and Asia, different countries. You know, so it's a way to boost the trade and boost our mutually beneficial cooperation between the United States and Africa.
Do you have an advice to give to one of our own here about coming in this conference? What do you tell them?
I mean, my major thing about every conference I go to, you know, when you go there, you have to be intentional. You have to have something to offer. You have to be very, very intentional. Like, if you're looking for investment as well, you have to look for very intentional investors. It's going to be a long ride, you know. An investment doesn't just happen in a day. There's a process, and you just have to make sure you have the patience to follow it through.
By the way, I love your dress. This is the African culture. It's beautiful. It's good to represent us when you go everywhere in the world. Thank you again for your attention. This is African Television. We based in Washington DC. My pleasure. And welcome to the United States.
Thank you. Aider à financer, à développer des projets à l'export.
Donc, vous êtes là en partenariat public ou privé?
Plutôt privé, mais nous travaillons déjà aussi avec la banque pour développer des projets à l'export.
Vous dites que vous êtes monsieur?
Monsieur Si, Abdou Si.
Du Sénégal, mais basé à New York. Merci, c'est un plaisir. En Afrique, nous sommes ici à Exim Bank pour vous montrer une fois de plus. Chaque année, nous y sommes après mon Afrique Télévision pour vous montrer ce qui se passe ici. Nous sommes encore à la pause café déjeuner. Hello. Africa TV, how are you?
Nice to meet you. All right, I'm just fine.
Thank you. Donc, nous sommes là ici à la pause café. Les gens encore le business to business ici. Les gens ici sont en train de parler avec les représentations des compagnies d'affaires, compagnies publiques, afin de trouver des contrats, présenter la business, afin de sûrement s'informer mieux. Et nous allons aller dans la grande salle pour vous montrer ce qui va se passer là-bas. Et comme je disais, le ministre du commerce américain doit s'exprimer ici. Il y a plusieurs ministres qui sont programmés. Il y a les hommes du Parlement américain qui sont ici aussi. Il y a plusieurs gouvernements qui ont fait le déplacement. Ici, l'Africa Television, good morning. What are you representing here, please?
Yes, so we are with the U.S. International Price Program, and we are in charge of helping produce the U.S. import and export price indexes, which track the different commodities prices being imported and exported from the United States, and how those different baskets of goods change over time.
So you've been here every year?
Yes, we've been here for the past several years, for sure.
If somebody want to get in touch with you, how do they get something?
So all of our data is available online and for free at www.bls.gov/MXP. That'll lead you to the U.S. Import and Export Price Indexes webpage. And on there, you can access our database, you can access our different types of publications that we have. And we do also have additional resources and contact information available there as well.
Thank you very much.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Monsieur Monafrique, vous avez envie tout à l'heure, il s'est exprimé pour dire qu'on peut les trouver sur le net. Ils sont là pour représenter le bureau des affaires du ministère du commerce aux États-Unis. Et ils sont nombreux ici, des privés, des gouvernements, des individus. Nous allons partir dans la salle pour voir et écouter ce que les autorités et ceux qui représentent. Nous avons des belles femmes ici. Hi, Africa TV. Hello.
How are you?
Representing here, please.
We're from Policy Night. We're a law firm, and we do lobbying work.
Okay.
Policy Night.
It's the name of the company. Okay.
It's a law firm, yes.
So what are you doing exactly? What do you represent?
So we can do lobbying and financing for infrastructure projects. So here is sort of the financing that we do, but we also do advocacy on the Hill.
You finance government or private or any type of business?
We can do anything, but what we specifically specialize in the energy sector and large infrastructure projects.
So, how do we contact you?
Right here.
It's online.
It's all the information's over here.
Where do you guys base?
I'm sorry?
Where do you base?
DC, but we have locations all over the United States and some abroad too. Yeah.
You want to say something? That you encourage people
We covered it.
to connect you guys?
Yes.
Are you here every year?
This is our first year.
Yeah, we want to come back.
Yes.
Every year for almost 7 years.
Awesome.
Well, it's a very good convention, and I'm sure you guys gonna know a lot. I meet a lot of people here. So, last question: do you guys just finance people from United States, or you can finance from all over the world?
We can do cross-border transactions and domestic transactions.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
It must show up with American workers and American technology. And when it does, when it truly does, it wins. But here's the harder truth. Without Exim Bank, we don't show up at all. And if we don't show up, China does. Let me put some numbers on that. In 2024, China provided over $23 billion in export credit. That is the reality of economic statecraft today. China is not competing on the merits of its projects alone. It is competing with the full weight of its state treasury. loans, subsidized rates, tied to contracts that require Chinese labor and Chinese equipment. Beijing has developed hundreds of billions of dollars through the Export-Import Bank of China, China Development Bank, and Sinisher to build infrastructure and position Chinese firms in emerging markets. From 2015 to 2019 alone, China's export credit volume reached roughly 90% of the G7 combined. That's not trade policy, that's a strategy for economic dominance. And the only way to counter it is with an instrument of American power that can meet it in the field. That instrument is Exim Bank. One of our most important partner companies is Nextracker, an American company that manufactures intelligent tracker systems. Since 2021, Nextracker has expanded or opened more than 25 manufacturing facilities across the United States, building over 30 gigawatts of annual domestic capacity. They have reopened shuttered steel mills, including the historic Bethlehem Steel Factory in Leakesfield, PA. And that's personally, I'm from Pennsylvania. Procuring over 100,000 tons of American-made steel to build the hardware that goes into major infrastructure projects around the world. This is what Buy American looks like in practice. Not a bumper sticker, a Pittsburgh steelworker with a paycheck, a factory in Memphis, a supply line in Las Vegas. American steel, American jobs. Now, why does Exim matter to this equation? Because the projects we pursue are multi-billion-dollar contracts. They carry sovereign risk, political risk, cross-border complexity. Private capital needs a backstop, and Exim Bank is that backstop. When private sector lenders are unable or unwilling to provide financing, Exim Bank fills that gap, equipping American businesses with the tools necessary to compete for global sales, leveling the playing field against foreign competition, backed by foreign export credit agencies. Without that backstop, the calculus for our sovereign partners is simple. Take the Chinese money. The project gets built with Chinese steel, Chinese equipment, and Chinese workers. An American company that could have won sits on the sidelines. I want to be direct about something, because I think it matters in this room. At Sun Africa and UGT Renewables, we do not use Chinese supply chains. Not as a policy position we adopted last year, but as a founding conviction. We compete directly against Chinese state-owned enterprises for the same contracts in the same markets on the same day. We know exactly what we're up against. And we know that the only way to win, consistently, credibly, and at scale, is to put an all-American supply chain on the table and back it with financing that can stand toe-to-toe with Beijing. That is the combination Exim Bank makes possible. Take either piece away, and we're not competitive. Full stop. Exim is being repositioned as a frontline economic tool, a framing that is exactly right. This is not foreign aid. This is not charity. This is industrial competition. Every $1 billion of Exim Bank financing that flows through companies like ours and partners like Nextracker is $1 billion that does not flow through a Chinese state-owned enterprise. It is American jobs, American exports.
I mean, isn't Luke the best, right? Can we get a round of applause for Luke? For many of us, the first Trump administration was at work, right? We were, I guess, 5.5 years younger. I was a lot less greater, had more energy. We were really running around. But one thing that always stood out was Luke's energy, his desire, the fact that he's so mission-driven was contagious, and still is today. So we're honored to have public servants like Luke Lindbergh, and we're honored to call you a friend here at Exim, so thank you. But this is, jokes and smiles aside, this is really important business that we're handling here today with reforging this partnership, revitalizing it. As Lou mentioned, we had never in our lifetimes actually had a trade deficit on the agricultural export side. Yet President Trump and our administration inherited one, and not a small one, $50 billion worth of trade. And so what we're hoping to do today with this MOU is bring together USDA and Exim in a coordinated effort to expand our U.S. agricultural exports and strengthen America's position in these global markets. What we really want to do, guys, and this is what President Trump really tasked us to do across not just all the independent economic agencies like Exim, but across the entire interagencies. Let's coalesce, let's dovetail, let's harmonize, let's create one-stop shops to solve these very critical problems. And we're proud to do that here today. Because what we're really doing is we're strengthening our export pipeline itself. And at the end of the day, I think strengthening our ability to support U.S. agriculture, to reduce this trade deficit, and deliver real benefits to all of the communities we serve is huge. And so I kind of like GSM 102A or whatever the name was, but I think it's fair to say, especially with this partnership revitalized, Luke, I know we talk about Buy American, building the future, but I think you could buy American and feed the world. And we want to do our part in that and open up as many markets as we can for our grain farmers and ranchers. So thank you, Luke, and we look forward to putting this to work.
So very much in the upstream world of mining, critical minerals. We've been doing it for 8 years now. So fortunately and unfortunately, I've been around for a little while.
Great.
Morgan, so glad to be here, honored to be here. Gateway Partners, we essentially are a private entity and a private credit provider. We provide growth capital to companies across the dynamic markets of Africa, Middle East, South Asia, and Southeast Asia. We invest into multiple sectors, digital infrastructure such as data centers, physical infrastructure including airports and water treatment and supply, critical minerals, healthcare, consumer.
All right. So basically what we have on stage is the materials and the capital in terms of the conversation. Rita, graphite. We talked about graphite and zinc. Applications and what Titan, having a mine that's operational in upstate New York, actually means for a domestic supply chain.
So taking zinc as the first critical material, zinc goes into one of the biggest uses is for steel making, so effectively it helps strengthen steel. But one of the other uses is really into construction. And that has remained a core industry for any country in the world. A huge portion of that is dominated by China, so you see ebbs and flows effectively. And then graphite is a mineral or a material which is used in everything from day-to-day uses such as lithium-ion batteries all the way into lubricants and military tanks. And again, that is a material which the United States imports 100% of. So we've ended up with these two really, very critical materials, and I call them critical because there's a list of 60 obviously, but they are critical largely because of their relevance to national security and the economy of the United States.
You said we import 100% of the graphite into the U.S. Where is that coming from?
So 42% of it comes from China, 18% of it comes from Brazil, and then you have other players such as Canada, Australia, and Mozambique. So the reason that we actually we found the project and we found the deposit accidentally, but the reason we decided to pursue the project is because of the national security risk that this material presents to the United States.
Shankar, when you talk about investing in all these different parts of the world, all these different sectors and industries, how are you thinking about the U.S. now in terms of investment, critical infrastructure, critical minerals, and the like?
Although we don't invest into the United States, a lot of investing we do is pretty aligned with the 4 pillars of the U.S. Exim Bank as initiated by its dynamic force of nature chairman, Jon Tomanovich, my good friend. So let me just illustrate that with an example of an investment, just to be on the case. Several years ago, we provided 60% of the capital, initial capital, 60 or 100, raised for a company called Vision Blue Resources. The mission of Vision Blue Resources was very simple. China had a near monopoly on a lot of critical minerals, whether it was cobalt or graphite or rare earths. So we said, let's build a company which is going to be a Western provider and provide supply chain resiliency. One of the investments we made in Vision Blue was a 25% interest in a rare earths mine in Brazil called Cerebral. This is an interesting asset because one, it was one of the few ionic clay rare earths deposits in the world, which was not controlled by China. Two, it was actually close to production. And three, it had a heavy concentration of what is the heavy rare earths, particularly dysprosium and terbium.
Thanks very much.
So I am very, very privileged to get to work with the best chief of staff in the world. And she will be moderating my next time. So please welcome the chief of staff of the Export World Bank of the United States, Ms. Nelson.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Becky Sharman, the Executive Chairman, Aquatech, and Armand co-founder, Sebastian Tech.
I'll be remiss if I didn't start my time on stage by just saying thank you, first and foremost, to everybody in the audience that's attending the conference, to the speakers. I mean, what an incredible line of speakers that we've had here, how amazing the last few days been, and then, most importantly, my incredible team. Like, I cannot say enough amazing things about the team that has put this in place this week, and so just a big thank you to each and every one of you that played a part in this. It just is incredible, and I'm so proud to work with such an amazing team. So, for that, let's just give them a round of applause. So this conference is about one idea you keep hearing over and over: buy American and build the future. And that's not just a tagline for us at Exim, it's a strategy. And as you've heard, under Chairman Ronald's leadership, Exim is really focused on a very clear mission. And, hopefully after this week, we'll have more priorities in the rest as well, so I won't hammer them again. But I think, we had a conversation last night that people have referenced today here on stage, our advisory committee, about the American dream and about innovation. And I think the way that the North Star and the strategy the chairman has created the bank has really paved the way, has just really helped us each day try to help companies and people achieve the American dream. It's just amazing to be a part of. So, for this conversation, we'll have one more export financing panel since, I think everybody's, not tired of hearing about it yet, but we're going to make it interesting. And this conversation isn't actually about financing. It's about what happens when an American company has the ability to say yes to a deal, to a market, to growth, when otherwise they would have walked away. And that's what Exim does. It changes the answer from we can't take that risk to we can compete and we can win, which is a huge part of the chairman's overall strategy. And that urgency, that bias toward execution is exactly how we're operating today. And so that's why I'm so excited about this panel, because these aren't hypothetical stories. What you just saw on stage, we have a real life example, two real life examples here with us. And so these two leaders, they've lived it. So we'll start with Becky to tell you about how Aquatech has grown from a small operation into a global leader in water technology. So maybe tell us a little bit about maybe Aquatech 101 and how you got to where you are today.
Sure. First of all, I'd like to thank Chairman Brundage, the Board of Directors of Exim Bank, Alyssa, and the many, many, many hardworking people at Exim Bank. They shared Aquatech journey. Aquatech is a 45-year-old headquartered, founded and headquartered in Western Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh. Started with very humble beginnings, but lots of ambition. Exim has been part of our growth journey for nearly 35 years. So the majority of our history, we were a very small exporter or aspiring exporter at the time. One step back. Aquatech has water and process technology. We've grown into the country's largest exporter of water process technology, as well as we are the largest, I believe, critical minerals processor, particularly lithium, with nearly 100,000 tons of lithium under various stages of execution right now. And a lot of that journey happened with the support of Exim. We support all industries, so the reindustrialization reshoring that's going on. Aquatech is engaged in enabling perhaps every life for heavy industry across the board, as well as critical minerals processing, including lithium, nickel, cobalt, and rare earths.
Oui, après nous en Afrique, nous sommes ici pour la cérémonie de clôture d'Exim 2026. Le buffet offert, lunch buffet comme on dit. Nous allons assister à la remise des prix d'excellence aux meilleurs ici ce soir, cet après-midi.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Today, we recognize Exim's 2026 Exporters of the Year. These are companies that demonstrate the strength, resilience, and global competitiveness of American industry. Under Chairman Uranovic's leadership, Exim has returned to its core mission, supporting American-made goods, services, and technologies to strengthen U.S. jobs and expand global reach. Small businesses are central to that mission. They power innovation, strengthen supply chains, and ensure American products reach markets around the world. So let's get started. Please join me in welcoming our Exporter of the Year Award recipient, GF Health Products Incorporated. GF Health Products is a leading U.S. manufacturer of healthcare equipment, offering more than 50,000 products used in hospitals, clinics, extended care facilities, and home healthcare environments worldwide. With manufacturing operations across Georgia, North Carolina, and Wisconsin, the company maintains a strong commitment to U.S.-based production while expanding its global footprint. An Exim customer since 2016, GF Health Products has leveraged export credit support to expand into international markets while sustaining domestic jobs and strengthening U.S. manufacturing capacity. Congratulations. Next, please welcome Exporter of the Year Award recipient, Apex Fire Suppression Systems of Raleigh, North Carolina. Founded in 1986, Apex is a small U.S. manufacturer specializing in fire suppression systems and safety solutions for high-risk industries, including mining, oil and gas, forestry, and heavy equipment operations. The company provides engineering, installation, monitoring, and long-term maintenance services to customers across more than a dozen international markets while maintaining its U.S. manufacturing base and workforce. Congratulations, Apex Fire Suppression. We would also like to welcome our Exporter of the Year Award recipient, Cow Fabrication and Manufacturing, LLC of St. Louis, Michigan. Established in 1964, Cow Fabrication is a specialized U.S. manufacturer of chemical processing equipment used in industrial, municipal, and processes such as chlorine containment and water treatment, contributing to a significant share of North America's sodium hypochlorite production. A long-standing Exim customer, Powell Fabrication exports to markets worldwide, delivering high-quality, American-made. Additionally, we also proudly recognize the following Exporter of the Year award recipients. Graceland Fruit Incorporated of Frankfort, Michigan, a leading producer of dried fruit ingredients, including cherries, cranberries, and blueberries, supplying global food manufacturers and expanding exports with excellent support. Rulco of New Orleans, Louisiana, a manufacturer of precision measurement and process control equipment used across industrial sectors, exporting to more than 20 countries worldwide. A's Manufacturing and Parts Company, Sullivan, Missouri, an innovative manufacturer of heavy-duty clutches and components for transportation and industrial equipment, known for patented designs and global reach. Medical Illumination International Incorporated of Chatsworth, California, a manufacturer of advanced surgical and medical lighting systems used in operating rooms and healthcare facilities worldwide. Ohio Associated Enterprises, LLC, Painesville, Ohio, a producer of high-performance electronic interconnect systems serving industries including medical, defense, and communications. Happy Town Incorporated of Salt Lake City, Utah, a multi-generational, family-owned confectionery company producing gourmet saltwater taffy and exporting American-made products globally. And finally, Select Services International, LLC of Doral, Florida, a manufacturing representative firm helping U.S. construction equipment manufacturers expand into Latin America through established partnerships. Please join me in congratulating all of our Exporter of the Year award recipients. And now, please welcome Smaro Karakasanis, Acting Vice President, Business Credit, Office of Small Business. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Please welcome our Lender of the Year, Pennsylvania, of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Founded in 1864, Enhanced Holdings supported approximately $75 million and export financing for the Working Capital Guarantee Program.